Hello guys and welcome back to Ninjago News TV. Today I wanted to mix it up and do something a little different from the Season 9 videos and the more generic videos. And this is not a theory video, but more of what if something in Ninjago's past was altered? How would it drastically change? I mean, would it drastically change the timeline? Would it not do anything? So today I'm discussing what if Lloyd never freed the Serpentine? How would that drastically change Ninjago's timeline? And it would drastically change it. So I'm going to be discussing how the timeline of Ninjago would be totally changed if this one event never happened. If Lloyd never released the Serpentine, many things would be different. So let's start at the beginning. Let us say that Lloyd doesn't even know about the Serpentine. He never goes wandering in the mountains and he never finds the Hypnobride tomb. So the Serpentine really still are a myth, actually. So let us say that Wu eventually finds him and he does turn good. And the Serpentine are still, to this day, never freed. Well, this automatically eliminates all of the events of Season 1. Serpentine are never freed, Great Devourer is never searched for, Fangblades aren't searched for either. So, pretty much, we already have Season 1 is erased, clear off the map. And then, in addition, Wu would never go looking for Garmadon because Lloyd would never be captured by the Serpentine. So, Garmadon would eventually come back on his own, and he wouldn't come back to help the ninja, and he would never be good in the season at all, okay? So he would have to come back on his own to find the ninja, to get revenge on Ninjago. In addition, he wouldn't get the golden weapon so easily, as he wouldn't even have to defeat the Devourer. So he'd have to try harder to get the golden weapons. This takes us to the next step. So now our next event is actually in episode 13, Day of the Great Devourer. As we know that, the bounty does get totally destroyed in that episode, and of course that's a result of the Great Devourer. Now, assuming Lloyd never released the Serpentine, the Great Devourer never destroys the bounty. But why is this important exactly? If you recall, in episode 14, Garmadon does ally himself with the Serpentine. But remember, in our altered timeline here, the Serpentine aren't freed. But what exactly does he find on the bounty that's really important? Well, he finds Captain Soto's diary, which actually reveals to him about the whole Dark Island. So actually, if the Serpentine were never freed, Garmadon would never ally with them, and the bounty would never be destroyed. So the Black Bounty would never exist, as he would never get his hands on the bounty. Therefore, he would never even find Captain Soto's journal, and he wouldn't know about the Dark Island. So this changes Season 2 drastically. Basically, to sum it up, hopefully that wasn't too confusing, but in episode 14, he does take over the bounty and restores it to its glory, and makes the Black Bounty. The next episode, he finds Captain Soto's log that talked about the Dark Island. Now, if the Serpentine were never released, the bounty would never be destroyed. In addition, Garmadon would never ally with the Serpentine, so he would never get the bounty. Therefore, he would never find Captain Soto's journal. So now let's talk about how this affects Season 2. The Overlord would never exist, which already erases all of Season 3. So Overlord never returns because Garmadon never visits the Dark Island. In addition, Garmadon wouldn't get the means that he needed to take over Ninjago, so it would be interesting to see how Season 2 would go. Because there still would be a fight, because Garmadon is still the villain, but it would be totally different, okay? So now we're still looking at Season 2. Garmadon, we don't know what he would do at this point, okay? So it's unknown how the rest of Season 2 would play out. It could turn out totally different, like maybe Garmadon allies with the skeletons again, or he makes his own new army or something. Point is, we don't know how the rest of Season 2 would go, because there is no definite answer. There's tons of different possibilities. However, we do know that he would never find the Stone Army, as the Serpentine would never go burrowing underground in order to destroy Ninjago City. So they would never find the Serpentine, and therefore Garmadon would never take over the Stone Army. So, yeah, that actually changes stuff a lot, right? So, no Stone Army, no Overlord, which changes Season 2 drastically. Now, let's assume that Garmadon still does get purified. We wouldn't know how this happens, but if Garmadon does get purified, we're still continuing as normal, okay? But then, Season 3, like I mentioned, wouldn't exist at all. As we know, the Overlord is the main reason behind Season 3, and if the Overlord was never freed from the Dark Island, he would never be there in Season 3. He would never come to Ninjago Island, and he would never be in the Digiverse at all. So all of Season 3 doesn't happen. However, Season 4 would still exist. So there's some things about Season 4 that would definitely be very different. For one, Season 3 doesn't exist, so Zane never died. So Chen could never use the motivation for the ninja about finding Zane. So we don't know if they would attend the Tournament of Elements or not. But let us assume that they do attend the Tournament of Elements anyways. Now, everything goes accordingly to plan, and Chen acquires all of the elements. Now, eventually, they get freed, and he has to use Skylar. Okay, that's good, and the spell's complete now. And they go to Ninjago. But remember in episode 42 or 43, I can't remember which one, I think 43, where he said they need the essence of a true anaconda? Remember that? The Serpentine are never free. He can never use Pythor to complete the spell. Well, he could free Pythor from the tomb. But remember, the locations of the tombs, that map is in the Hypnobrai tomb, okay? So he would never be able to free Pythor because he doesn't know where Pythor is located. He doesn't even know if the anaconda are still alive, right? So the spell would wear off because they needed the essence of a true anaconda in order to keep it permanent. Now, if Pythor's never there, they can't get that essence, so therefore the spell wouldn't be complete for long. Eventually, it would wear off, and Chen and all of his followers would be human again. This would make them much more easier to defeat, and the ninja would make that battle much more easier, and they would probably be able to defeat them really quickly. If they were to defeat them, this means that Garmadon never banishes himself to the Cursed Realm. And if Garmadon never banished himself to the Cursed Realm, just that one event completely wipes out seasons 5 and 6. Because if Garmadon never banished himself to the Cursed Realm, Moro never escaped the Cursed Realm because that portal was never opened. And then in addition, the Cursed Realm never got destroyed because possession didn't happen, so Klaus couldn't free Nauticon. So you see, that automatically, Garmadon not being banished to the Cursed Realm, wipes out seasons 5 and 6 completely. So season 7 would still exist, and I'm going to explain why. If you haven't noticed the trend yet, seasons which have villains from the Serpentine War era still exist. And yeah, Chen was a major villain during the Serpentine War, and Acronyx and Crux were villains in the post-Serpentine War period. Now this season would still exist, of course, because Serpentine have been sealed up, and Acronyx and Crux still decide that they're dominant. Their battle ensues with the Elemental Masters. They get locked away. Well, not locked away, they get banished to time, and etc. Now, eventually, they do return, and Wu does have to battle them. Now, this would change stuff. Of course, Garmadon is still alive, and anyways, let's assume that everything in Season 7 goes accordingly to plan. Though the ninja may not have met Ronin because Season 5 never existed, but that Ronin didn't have a big role in that season also. And they may not have met, well, they would have met Dareth too, but those characters are both not that important to the season. Now let us assume that, let's skip to the season finale of Season 7, where they are in time. They're lost in time, okay? Let's assume that most of the episode goes as it normally did, and then at that final scene where they're in time, and Wu, Kai, and Nia are actually tracking them as they travel into the future. Now, let's assume that everything goes accordingly to plan, and Wu is still lost in time. Okay, so now we enter Season 8, which also would still never exist because Garmadon is not dead. He's still alive, so there would be no way to revive him, obviously. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know how this would happen. Maybe Harumi would take on a different sort of plan that doesn't really involve reviving Garmadon. We don't know if she would actually have some sort of different plan, but we do know that the Sons of Garmadon wouldn't exist because Garmadon, obviously, is still alive. So that just means that Baby Wu would have to turn up somewhere, and we know that Misako did go looking for him and actually found him. So Misako would find Wu, and they would bring him home, because that's what actually did happen. She found him, and all would be well, right? This sounds unbelievably surprising, but yeah, all would be fine if the Serpentine were never freed, and they would have Wu now, and slowly he would age back to his normal age. So the Serpentine have a huge role in both Ninjago's past and present. Just erasing one event from Ninjago's history alters the timeline completely. If Lloyd never freed the Serpentine, so much would be different in Ninjago, and it would actually be peaceful to this point. So it's really interesting, these kind of videos. More topics to explore, like what if Garmadon was never bitten by the Devourer, which I will do at some point, and there are other topics that you can explore that are like this, and it's very fun I had a blast doing this video, and I hope you enjoyed this. It's something different, and it was really fun for me also. So anyways, that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. Tomorrow's Memorial Day special will conclude the weekend. And anyways, I will see you next time.